Hi, I'm Michelle Turner from Movement Lesson Early Intervention TV, and this video is for Psychoparent79. Wanted me to analyze a couple of their videos of their son. Now, I want to say a couple of things. First of all, and again, I'm watching just videos. I haven't actually seen the child. Some comments, sometimes it's just what people put in writing, they don't realize, or they like to capture the certain moments of their child. But what my comment is, first of all, with the like the toe walking in front of the TV, saying that this went on for hours. Can't let it go on for hours. You have to start bartering almost with your child. Get Bob the Builder, half hour, knock your lights out, spin and dance around. But if you're going to continue to do so, no TV. Use whatever power you have. If there's a certain item, toy, ritual that your child likes, start to barter, because it's one thing to allow a child to stim, it's allowing that child to stim too much. If you've got a child that's a stimmer, they can do it on their downtime. It's almost like allowing a child to continue with the pacifier. When they go out in public and they're just not acting appropriately, everyone's going to know that they have a problem, and it's just harder on you. And that's just not the real world. It's going to be harder for them to mainstream. It's going to be harder for them to just do so many things in life because they've allowed to stim. Now, it's not just stimming. You can't just look at it as a behavioral. But what it is that it's a key thing in learning. Children learn what they're exposed to, not what they're supposed to. So, in other words, if he's constantly spinning around and looking around like that, what he's doing is he's setting up mind mapping. And that's why you're starting to see different stims actually increasing. Now the tongue, first it was just this, and now it's this, and now it's this. Because he's transferring that he gets gratification over something going on. Now what's happening in the mouth, what people don't realize, we learn this more with the up and yell method, is a mouth is a form of gravity. That's why babies put things into their mouth. It's actually very crucial to development. When you see a baby, and that's what's happening now. Oh, germs, don't put it into your mouth, but they need to do it. Not only is it object orientation, coming to the eyes and mapping things in close proximity, so they learn the difference. A baby has to learn the difference between what's here and what's in the kitchen. They don't know perspective when they're born. They don't know depth. They don't know so many things. It's all, again, we learn everything. So so what he's doing is he's actually playing with that force. And again, it's even when he's sitting, it's allowing the vestibular to affect his body when he's even sitting in a concentrating position, which is just a more concentrated version of this. Stimming, again, he doesn't know where he is in space, so he needs to create it for his mind. But there also is some gratification out of that, and it continues. It's sort of like being on a roller coaster ride all the time. It's fun when you're on them, but you just can't be on them 24/7. So we need to start doing what you can to stop that. Summertime, great time. Pool. Start using the pool in a concentrated effort. What's nice about the pool, he's got the floaty vest on. So, doesn't necessarily need to be there all the time. I would give him the variation. But again, the water is a surrounding. It gives him more in depth of where I am in space, because I don't have to stim around. The water's doing it for me. So that's a great time. You can work on speech. You can work on all sorts of social activities in the pool, since that's what he likes to do. I also see in the diagnosis is OCD. Again, I'm not a doctor, I haven't seen your child. A lot of people don't realize, and looking at the length of the different diagnoses going on, is look into a dormant form of strep throat, OCD and strep throat. Easy Google search. And see if there's a dormant form. It's an easy blood test that you can go in and take care of what it is that they found is a dormant form of strep. I'm not going to quote it, not a doc. Is in the child's system, and it manifests symptoms of OCDs. Child needs a prophylactic dose, meaning more like a 30-day dose of antibiotics versus a short term, to knock that out, and they've seen great improvements with the OCD in young children. I've actually told parents about it. About 5 kids have been turned around from OCD that I know of, just because of this strep. So it is out there, something you can Google. I did have a vision expert look about the stimming. She's like, there's no way that's a tic with the eye. What she feels it is that he's either having difficulty focusing or he's seeing double vision, which also might concur with a lot of what's going on with the eyes. Even when you photograph him, if you notice, he tends to look to the right. So it might almost be the angle of the camera. I know as even my children don't like to talk and have that eye contact, but it's not like you have some videos where he's going this way. It seems to always be the patterns more off to the right. So have you seen a pediatric ophthalmologist just to rule out that the eyes are functioning, that again just doesn't need glasses, or that there might be some issues with cortical visual impairment. But again, the woman that I spoke to didn't see eye issues, but again, she hasn't examined the child either. It's one thing to just see just a couple of minutes videos here and there. The reason people like the horses as well as what I mentioned with the pool is because when they're riding the horses, it's the only way that the pelvis has that kind of activity, left, right side. We have, in a sense, internal gyros in our system, and the pelvis is a main one, and it's rotating all of this at the same time. However, he's doing it with a very weak back, and he's kind of just riding. I would like to see more of an activity where he's more into the riding. Yes, it might be calming and he's not doing the obvious other behaviors, but at the same time, it's more of a zoning out. A great little known book, Sensory Secrets by Catherine Schneider's. Fabulous book. Because why is it fabulous? Most books tell you what's wrong with a kid. Anybody can tell you that. What do I do about it? And she gives all sorts of various activities based on body parts, what you can do to input sensory, to give them, from just getting a kid's wheelbarrow and having them work in the garden, doing more energetic work. So that's a great book that you can look into. I always recommend the More Than Words program by Fern Sussman, which is another fabulous book. He's got some good language skills. We need to start breaking in there to get them out. But a great thing is just going to be really going after the negotiation skills. I had a truly autistic child on my table, around 6-ish. They allowed him to have a chewy tube. Always had to have this like PCV chewy tube in the mouth. He also liked to kick me, which I find unacceptable, but the parent was like, well, he has autism. Well, just because a child has autism doesn't mean he can just turn around and kick people all the time. So, unfortunately, I negotiated incorrectly and said, either you kick me or I take the chewy tube. Well, he decided on his own, I'd rather kick her than have it, and he just promptly took it out of his mouth. So, even though, and this child was nonverbal and all of it, oh, my kid's just in such rough shape. No. These kids are brilliant. These kids are absolutely brilliant. It's us to us. We have to rise to the table to find a way to break in. So he likes Bob the Builder. He likes, look at the pros and cons of what he really likes and start negotiating with him. If this continues to happen, then we don't get to do this. And you have to play ball. It's not oh, okay, I forgot about it. Mean it. And don't have toys and things in the bedroom. That's their calm down, the downtime. So again, it's the summertime. Take advantage of it. You need downtime too. If there's any way of getting into camp, that would be great as well. I hope any of this was helpful. If you have more questions, feel free to comment me, contact me, or ask for more information. And the best advice I can get you, if you can't come see me, I understand, I'm in Phoenix, whatever, but there are not Benil method practitioners around the U.S. He needs the input from what I do. So see if you can find a local practitioner. There are a lot of free children's clinics going on this summer. I know of in Ohio, Milwaukee. I'm having one in a couple weeks, so you at least can just experience the method for free. From my own children, what it's done for my life, of my family, myself, I just can't. I'm not just a practitioner. I'm a practitioner because my kids went through it, and I had to learn how to do it. So it's not like I was doing this work and then I had these kids. So my life's changed because of it. It's something seriously to look into. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me, Michelle, at Movement Lessons.